For as long as I've been in the wine trade, winemakers have consistently said it takes a lot of beer to produce amazing wine. And because I don't want them to start slacking anytime soon, I'm going to be sitting down with some of my favorite winemakers and getting them all to take on DasBootiful Cape Winelands challenge. The challenge itself is all about chugging down a locally produced craft beer while still appreciating the world-class wine. Now let's find out who the quickest winemaker is. Welcome to the last episode of the very first season of DasBootiful Cape Winelands. Today I'm sitting with Zander Greer from Villiera Wines. Zander, lucky to have you on the show. Thanks a lot for your time. You're looking very stressed. I know we're in the middle of harvest over here. So thank you. I really appreciate your time.
No, all good. Glad to be here.
Okay, so Zander, let's get started off over here. Villiera, can you just take us through how the name came about and what makes the property so unique compared to the other producers in the region?
Villiera is a family farm. It was bought by my family in 1983.
Okay.
And when we bought it, Villiera was already the name of the farm.
Okay.
So we decided to keep on going on with the name. We just brought in our family crest. And since actually 1984, we've been producing Cup Classic on Villiera specifically itself. So it's been in the family since '83. This year's actually our 40th year.
Wow, congrats!
That we've had the farm and been making wine here. So it's quite a big year for us as well, and a lot of history.
Are you guys planning something special for the season?
First we'll get harvest done, and then after harvest, we'll plan something a bit later on, just a bit of a celebration.
Okay, for sure. And in terms of what really sets you apart from the rest of the producers, what would you say is the?
I think because Stellenbosch is divided into different wards.
Yeah.
So we're in the Bottle Array ward, and we're one of the only publicly produced couple of sick producers in actually this ward itself. I think that sets us apart from the other farms around us, but also our sustainable approach.
Okay.
It's been sort of an ethos for us from the start, get-go. We practice sustainability through the vineyards all the way into the cellar. We've got massive solar plant as well on all our roofs. We harvest all our rainwater.
Nice.
So we try and do everything we can with minimal intervention, and also our impact must be minimal on our surrounding and our environment as well.
Yeah, excellent. So winemaking, I mean, out of all the crazy occupations that do exist out there, why is it that you veered towards winemaking?
I didn't start off winemaking.
Oh, really?
No. I was actually a chef for about 2 years. My dad's a chef, so I thought, I need to. Did it for about 2 years. It's too hectic. And then actually I went into food science. So I've got a degree in food science, biochemistry.
I guess that helps a lot, especially in the cellar.
Yeah, and I specialised in product development, and flavour is a thing that sort of interests me. And then I worked that back into winemaking, and Cup Classic is all about flavour, and you have to think about the future, how it develops. So that's what really intrigues me about Cup Classic itself, and that sort of took a long path. Yeah, that's where I ended up at the end.
I find that so incredible, because the one thing that the Villiera wines have throughout the whole range is like the flavour profile of the wines. Like the concentration that you get is absolutely world class. So I mean, I can't wait to obviously get onto this wine eventually. But in your own opinion, what's the most important stage when it comes to winemaking? I mean, if you want to keep it specific to Cup Classic right now, I mean, that would be nice, seeing that we are focusing on this.
It's going to sound cliche, but it all starts in the vineyard.
Yeah, for sure, that's great.
That's where, for us as well, Simon, my uncle, who's a viticulturist, he pays a lot of attention to the vineyard. Myself as well, I get involved quite a bit. And that's actually where it starts, because if you get bad quality, you can't make a good wine. There's only so much, because our intervention is minimal in the cellar. So for me, it really starts in the vineyard, and then it makes my job easier in the cellar. So I think for me personally, that's where it all starts. It sounds cliche.
No, it's not cliche at all.
It is really. You have to have a good building block. Otherwise, the rest, it's only so much you can do as well.
For sure. So I mean, normally at this stage of the interview, I'd be talking about the varietal in focus. So today is not necessarily a varietal, but it's more like a winemaking style. And the style today that we're focusing on is Cup Classic. First of all, actually, before we get to that, it used to be recognized as MCC or Method Cup Classic, but now that Method has been taken out of the equation, what's the main reason behind that? Do you know?
Yeah, the reason, there's a Cup Classic association in South Africa, and we just thought it as an association, because champagne, it's where everything started and stuff. So in the beginning we called it Method Cup Classic, and that was just referring to the champagne method. But we also wanted to take ownership of Cap Classique in South Africa. So to make it more unique, we thought we'd remove the method and just keep Cap, which refers to the Cape, and Classique, which is the classic method.
For sure.
So that's why we've moved to Cap Classique.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be quite a trick to get people to have that mind change, because people will forever, I think, at least for the next 10 years, be referring to the wine as MCC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They will always refer to it. We still use the MCC as well, but when we produce and speak about it,
for sure.
we say Cap Classique, but the method's still method Cap Classique.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, let's get to that question that I was trying to ask now. So for those out there, can you maybe just give like I know it's a broad question, but just like the flavor profile of Cap Classique, maybe the aroma profile, what is it that people can expect?
Cap Classique.
I know it's broad because there's so many factors to take into consideration, but
I'll first sort of explain what's the difference between Cap Classique and sparkling wine,
for sure.
because in South Africa a lot of people get confused with that.
100%.
Sparkling wine refers to carbonation, actually. So it's sort of like a Coke, where it's carbonated, where Cap Classique refers to the traditional method, where actually the bubble is natural, it occurs in the bottle.
Yes.
So you make your base wine, and then you make a blend, add your sugar and your yeast back, and then you put it on a crown cap again for about, after 2 months ferment's done, and then that ferment in the bottle is what gives you your natural bubble.
Okay.
And that's where Cap Classique comes from, and that's why it's also always more expensive than sparkling wine, because it's a longer method.
Yeah,
it's
for
more,
sure.
The bubbles are also way more elegant.
100%, and they last for much longer. I mean, if you had to pop open a Cap Classique and pour in a glass and take a sparkling one, the bubble or the fizz is going to dissipate much quicker in that sparkling versus.
And the sparkling wine bubble is also way more aggressive on your palate. Where Cap Classique, we want something that's smooth, elegant, and it has to add to the pleasure of drinking the wine. So that's also very important. Like, we always look for aging longer because you've got a smaller bubble.
For sure.
And that also actually helps carry flavors and aromas.
For sure.
To it,
So like, that's what I was going to say. I think you were getting to that now. Is that so? In terms of a general flavor profile, I mean, what do you reckon you'll find in Cap Classique?
In South Africa, because we warmer climate, you tend to find you get a bit more riper fruit compared to champagne, which is a bit more mineral, more acid. So you get a bit more sun fruit, if I can put it, like yellow flowers and that.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of a biskiness, but that also depends the time on the leaves, how long that is. The longer it leaves, the more yeasty, bready nature.
For sure.
But your early stuff, with Chardonnay dominant, you'll get a lot of green apple character to it. If you've got a bit more red fruit, that will turn to like red apple, bruised apple and that.
Okay, for sure.
But that's just my...
No, for sure. That's the thing. Like, I mean, it's one thing for us to mention, what you could possibly taste, but I mean, every palate is super unique to the next. So what I taste doesn't necessarily represent what you're going to taste,
Yeah, and that's the main thing. I think that's the main thing. What people, they're scared of wine is because they think, this is what you have to get.
Yeah.
Like you said, we each have our different palates.
For sure.
Like, I've got a chefing background, so I taste different compared to different winemakers.
Yeah.
But that's just what I was brought up.
Yeah, for sure. Don't be intimidated by wine.
Exactly.
The more you expose your palate to the wine, the more you're going to understand it. I mean, it's there to be enjoyed, so go and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you a tricky question, out of all these years that you've exposed yourself to incredible wines from all around the world, what has remained your favorite wine to date? I mean, that can be still or can be, bubbly.
Yeah, I really enjoy Cap Classique, champagne,
For sure.
all those. Just a different, you can really taste the different countries and styles
100%.
in it and stuff. Still wines, I really love Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Chardonnay as well, Chenin. So I don't,
You don't have a favorite wine, but you have favorite cultivars.
Favorite cultivars that I have and stuff like that. I've got a couple of wines that they've left a memory. But it's more, I've got different cultivars that I like exploring.
Yeah, for sure. I like what you say about a memory, because a lot of the winemakers that have been part of the show so far like to connect an experience to a specific wine, not actually really just place a specific wine,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I like that. Okay, so one last question before we move on to the tasting part is, out of your own personal collection of wines that you might be tucking away somewhere special at home, I mean, what's the most prolific wine that you're currently holding on to?
It's more of a personal thing for me. I've got two sons, so each in their birth years I was already at Villiera, so I made a specific Chardonnay for them. So I bottled magnums of
nice.
bubbly Chardonnay for them that I'll leave for 21 years for the 21st on
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome.
And now I bought a couple of their vintage year wines as well that I've kept
Okay,
back.
nice.
So for me, yeah, that's going to be in the future,
For sure.
drinking that with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's,
Okay, so Xander, I think that's enough mumbo jumbo from us.
Yeah.
How's about we put some tasty liquid to lips?
yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so Xander, now that the wine is officially open, can you just take us through the production method that has gone into this specific wine?
So our Monro is our flagship WSET that we produce on the farm. It's got the 3 noble varieties in it, which is champagne, which is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. We're one of only 3 farms in South Africa that actually puts a bit of Pinot Meunier
100%.
in our bubbly.
I was just about to say, sorry to just jump in here, but I'm like, you don't see that every day.
No,
It's always just blanc to blanc, either Chard or it's obviously Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, but you don't ever see the
Pinot
third.
Meunier.
Yeah, 100%.
There's not a lot of Pinot Meunier planted in South Africa. We've got a little block here on Villiera itself that we use. But the Pinot Meunier component will always vary. It's a vintage to vintage.
Okay.
How good the quality was and all of that. So it will always be about 60% Chardonnay, then 35 Pinot Noir, and then the rest will be Pinot Meunier up and down compared to the vintage. And then of the Chardonnay portion as well, we do about 30% we do in barrels,
Okay,
but
nice.
bigger barrel format, as you're just looking for a bit more complexity on the palate itself, and just to add a bit to the mid palate
For sure.
of the wine.
Okay, nice. And the other components, I mean, in terms of lease contact and that kind of stuff, how long has the wine been on the lease?
Yeah, so normally, it'll be about 6 months on the lease,
Okay.
and then we'll make up the blend, bottle it, and then it's another about 5.5 years to
Okay,
6
nice.
years that we actually leave it under crown cap. And then after that, we'll disgorge it and leave it another year under cork before we actually release the wine. So total takes about 6.5 years.
It's a long time to wait to eventually get to taste the goodness. you know?
Yeah, to actually taste the goodness.
But I mean, earlier we were just having a conversation about how you have made these small tweaks to the wine just to kind of like increase the freshness of the wine. And I mean, you can take us through that now, but that's the first thing I'm actually tasting this wine is that compared to the last time I tried a 2012 vintage, which we discussed, and this is now 2015, right?
Yeah, 2015 now.
And the freshness of this wine is incredible. Like, damn, I can't believe it. At that vintage, this wine is absolutely singing.
Yeah, 2015 was also like, one of the best vintages in South Africa we've had in a couple of years. So I actually started Villiera in 2017, so 18 was my first vintage.
Okay.
And coming back to such a well-established farm in WSET specifically, it's very difficult to actually make any change or tweak, but a slight tweak always helps and stuff. So with the Monro specifically, 15 first vintage where I've taken over with the dose and all that. In the past for me, just the wine was opening up a bit too quickly under cork. For me, like showing a lot of that really is becoming full and stuff. So with the 15, I actually wanted to pull that back a bit. So I've lowered the dosage on the wine, and I've pushed up the acid a little bit, and that's just sort of to keep the wine tighter under the cork.
For sure.
Because we've taken all that time to age it already, so why do I want it to open up quickly? It takes up about 1.5 years to 2 years, so it's opening up nicely now.
Sure.
And it's sort of, you get a mineral, sort of a biscuity, sort of a seashell sort of notes coming through a bit.
It's beautiful.
And then white flowers, bit of yellow flowers now, and now it's starting to open, so about a couple of months from now, then you start getting that real bready, yeasty note, what it used to be. So not what it used to be, it's what Monro is supposed to be, but it's just taking longer to actually get there.
So you're actually adding longevity to this wine. So people need to obviously. So I don't know if that's really a misconception, because for me, and I think I'm sure to all producers, Cup Classic is a wine that can suit any kind of occasion, any kind of meal, pretty much. I mean, just sit back and enjoy the methods that have gone into it. But I think a lot of people see it as just like a celebratory drink, and that really shouldn't be the case. I understand why it's there, but we need to kind of just move away from that.
Yeah, and that's one thing as well. Like I said, the general public think like, pop it, drink it. So, but it's like, for me, it's something a vintage.
For sure.
A prestige. And it is something you must actually think about, and when you drink it, it is sort of intellectual. Put it like that. And I just thought, like, it's time, like, people have taken time to adapt to the new style we're making, but I think it is better for the wine and longevity, because you want to give someone something that they can actually age a bit as well. Certain people like aging WSET as well.
For sure. I mean, this is by far. I mean, I have exposed myself to, I think, pretty much most of the the bubbly that's being produced in South Africa. And this is by far, I'm not just saying it because I'm sitting with the man himself, but this is by far one of the best couple of six that you will find in South Africa. So if you ever find the opportunity to get yourself some of this wine, I highly recommend that you do so. But you know, Zander, for as long as I've been in the wine industry, winemakers have always said just one thing to me. They say, you know, Gareth, it takes a lot of beer to produce amazing wine. And Zander, because I want you to continue producing wines of this crazy quality, I think it's time that you pay the piper and you take on DasBootiful Cape Winelands challenge. Yes.
This season's beer sponsorship comes from the Kennel Brewery. Today's beer is the Lager Door, a lager. Unfiltered lager with a medium body and a crisp taste. A malt-forward beer with a light honey and nut backbone. Okay, so Zander, you know the rules. It's all about chugging down a locally produced craft beer in the quickest possible time.
Okay.
So this over here is the leaderboard thus far. You can see the vet is sitting quite pretty at the top. I don't know how on earth he put a 6-second
You
score
can have
up
the
there.
win. I'm not going to beat that.
And Shane, poor Rain over here is probably sitting at home hoping that you choke so that he's not lying at 12th position after the end of this all.
Even Nadia beat him.
Yeah, even not. But so I mean, out of all the winemakers that you see over here, is there anybody in specific that you really need to beat today?
So Christo and Bertus definitely have to beat them now.
So what is it about Christo? Is he just?
I used to work at WSET.
Oh, really? Okay.
Christo took over my job there.
Oh yeah, so you need to just put him in check. You know?
Yeah, and Bertus, I know him from Mooiplaas as well. And he'll never shut up
if he beats you. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so I mean, like I said, it's this has all got to do with you carrying on, the production of amazing wines. So I think it's time that you do pay the piper and you take on DasBootiful Cape Winelands challenge. So you can hold the beer in your hand. I'm going to count you down from 3, and the minute that glass touches your lips, I'm going to start you. Remember, it's all about beating Christo. So you're looking at a time just above 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Are you feeling stark?
I don't know.
Okay, let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. Hey, it's looking good. Yes, it's looking good. Go. Yo, leck! Yes, that's a strong time. Take a guess where you're sitting over here right now.
I don't know.
Well, listen here. I think you toast. What? So you just wanted to come in above 20 seconds. You've totally smashed that out of the park. Your time for DasBootiful Cape Winelands challenge is 8 seconds 47.
Yes. Even beat Mark.
You even beat Mark. That is another person that you seriously wanted to beat today, right?
True.
So let me just quickly jot you down over here. 8.47.
I get third, top 3.
Yeah, so I'll move you up to the top there in just a second. But I mean, into third place. I mean, that's a very strong showing.
I started off last.
You started from the bottom, now you're here. But Zander, I just wanted to say, thank you for your time today. I know that you guys are, pressing on with harvest. But I mean, I was standing outside the cylinder smelling great already,
awesome.
and that's
Thanks
just at the beginning thing. And also, I'd like to just encourage you to continue what you're doing. I think the wines that you're putting out into the trade are absolutely world class.
Sure, thanks a
So
lot.
thanks again for everything.
Have a lovely day, man. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks. So folks, that was the Monro Brut being produced at Villiera Wines. If you'd like to get your hands on that wine, all you have to do is just follow the links below. A reminder that my crowdfunding campaign is still a go. If you'd like to make a contribution and stand a chance of winning 12 ridiculously amazing wines, all you have to do is just scan the QR code over here in the corner. So yes, this is the last episode of the first season of DasBootiful Cape Winelands, but we will definitely be back. But until then, remember to be kind and drink good wine.
And beer.
And beer. Zander, thanks again, man.
Sure,
Yes.
man.